Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lillian. If you're into astrology like I am, then I encourage you to stick around because I'm going to be going through the astrological sign Gemini. We've already done Aries, we've already done Taurus, and now Gemini is next on my hit list. Just kidding. If this type of content is something that you love and enjoy, I please encourage you to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on your notification bell. All of these things really help me out and I really appreciate it, guys. This hair is Before we get into Gemini, I just want to light my candle and light my incense. I like those things, so I don't know, I felt like they look cute. Let's hope that I can light this candle because it scares me. It's so far down that wick. Okay, I got it. I'm gonna be lighting Dragon's Blood specifically because I just feel like I need a little bit of creative flow. All right, time to start. Get into Gemini. So let's get into it. It is a air sign. This is the first air sign that we're going to be covering. I have briefly touched on air sign qualities in my other videos, but this is going to be our first air sign video. Gemini is an air sign, a mutable air sign at that. What does this mean? Air energy is very mental. It's very fluid. It's very logical, answer driven. Analysis can go in that, but it's not such a focus. With Gemini, it is a focus. Air signs in general, it's just, they like to think about things. They like to break things down mentally. They like to rationalize things like their emotions, events in their lives, ideas in general. They love ideas, knowledge. Anything in that mental arena is very important to them, and as well as bonds. Maybe not bonds, but just connecting with people on a mental level. That's very important to air signs. They need mental stimulation in everything that they do. Be a really amazing trait and can also be not a great trait, and we'll dive into that when I hit the pros and cons if you need a reminder. Also very detached from experiences, and this is because they are all up in their head, right? So it's easy to be detached when you're not thinking from an emotional standpoint. It's funny because they do have a need for relationships and connections with people, but more on a social level, where some water signs, they also have that craving, but it's more on a deep emotional level that they crave it. It's not so much for the social or interactive aspect of it, if that makes sense. Very communicative element, very curious element. They, are aware of others as individuals and of their individuality, and they really thrive off of concepts and principles. I don't think I could have summarized that any better. That's an air sign in a nutshell. Very mental. Air is mental. Air is up here. That's why Gemini never shuts the fuck up. Oops. Because they think a lot. They also talk a lot because they're ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, of commerce, of business. He's a messenger. And media, that's, the stuff that Mercury really rules over. That's their shit. You put a air sign together with a mutable modality, and mutable modalities are all about spiraling. Quick to change. They don't have an issue with change. They actually thrive off of change and they're very quick to adapt. They're like chameleons, specifically Gemini. They really know how to adapt to their circumstances, adapt to people, adapt to different jobs, places, you name it. They're very good at adapting. And mimic you, right? They want to agree with you. They want to be your friend. They want to have a connection with you. That's very important to mutable energies. They need to be flexible. Specifically Gemini, when you put together a mutable air sign, you're gonna get somebody that's kind of fickle. You're gonna get somebody that might come across as not very grounded and stable because they're constantly bouncing from thing to thing. They're bouncing from idea to idea, person to person, connection to connection, which can be, more balanced Geminis. They might know how to keep that under wraps a little better than some that we haven't mastered all areas of life yet. Gemini as a sign itself, it's a very curious sign. It's a very adaptable sign. It's a very mental sign. Geminis need a lot of mental stimulation or else they go insane. The mental stimulation is what can drive them insane if they overdo it, but they really crave mental stimulation in their partners, their jobs, their friends, Anything they do, if it's not gonna stimulate the mind, they're not interested. Very perceptive. It's very upper chakra type activation. Geminis as well, because they are characterized as the twins. I feel like they, and this ties in with the whole modality of mutable signs, because that's what makes Gemini so easily mutable. They have two sides of them that they're constantly battling with. I'll say that this is their masculine and feminine energy that they're constantly trying to balance out. They're very adaptable to the people that they're around. They're a mutable sign. So if they're around a certain person, they're gonna kind of mimic that person. If they're around a certain type of group, they're gonna mimic the group dynamic. They're chameleons. They know how to really integrate very well. That's a really good thing because they can hang out with anyone. They can build a lot of connections all over the place, and this helps them, especially if they're in business, media, any of those types of Mercury ruled careers. Yes, I'll just kind of dive into the pros of really social, charming. They really are great with their words. They can really hang out with anyone, blend in with any group. They can, you know, go bing, 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 bing. An issue with that. If anything, they like that. They need variety as well, or else they get really bored on top of the mental stimulation. So they can be a handful at times because they are Mercury ruled. So they have a lot of that nervous energy to them. So they kind of do want things to fit a certain vibe. One good thing about Geminis, because they're all about like communicating, if you're in a relationship with a Gemini, like you will always know for the most part they stand and how they feel about you, because they will express it. And ask them, and sometimes you might have to discern whether or not they're telling you the full truth, but for the most part they're going to be quite honest about, if they feel like they have nothing to lose, they're going to be very honest with you about how they feel about you. So if they're like completely in love with you and don't have anything to hide and they're being genuine, you're gonna hear it a lot. You're gonna know that you're appreciated. You're gonna know that you're loved. You're gonna get a lot of maybe like nice love notes or notes around the house, or like great cards, because they're really good at thinking and writing and expressing their opinions and perceptions. So something to really admire that's so unique, and that they cannot get to the bottom of it even though they've dug and dug and dug for that final answer. That's how you catch the Gemini. That's how you catch them in your net. It's very good with their words. They know the perfect word to use and the connotation and the message that's going to send to you. It's just, they're very just good with their words. And that's something that Geminis really can do very well. They've got very strong manifestation skills because of their strong throat chakra, because they rule over communication. So they're gonna have a very easy time manifesting things with their words. That's primarily how they will get the best results, manifesting with their words. Even writing as well. Influencing you with their words just flows very quickly and efficiently from them. That's the more positive manifestation. You can also find a Gemini that's very susceptible to their nervous energy, and they might have stronger communication skills than most other signs. It's not going to be as strong and free-flowing as it could be if they were standing in their power. I like Gemini because they are very good conversationalists. You can talk to them about literally any topic that you want to talk about, and they'll know something about it. They won't be total experts on every topic. Guys, they're really good. They're like a jack of all trades. They're very interested in learning new things, new information, but tidbits of information. Because they love to analyze things, learn new things, pick up new information and stuff, they're always going to be really great to have a conversation with, because most of the time, whatever you're interested in talking about, they're going to know something about it, and they're going to be able to keep that conversation going. And even if they don't really know much about that topic, they're such great chameleons and they love to mimic the people they're around, probably going to mimic you a little bit and make you trick you into thinking that they know what they're talking about when they have no idea. They're very good at winging it when they're trying to explain things, because most of the time they get away with it. Most of the time they make sense enough for people to be like, yeah, I think they know what they're talking about. I'm not going to question them further. People just don't assume that like they really have no idea, but some of them just are really great at just winging it. And sometimes that can be when they operate best, when they have no choice but to have to wing it, because then those special skills come to the forefront and they're like, oh, finally, here I am in my element. I feel like sometimes Geminis almost like to be in that type of like mental pressure where they feel the need to perform, because then they're going to try even harder. They're going to get very upset if you make them feel stupid or like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Most of the time they don't. They know just enough to get by. I don't mean to criticize either, Gemini. We're not in that part of the video yet, but you're really great at holding a conversation. So thank you for that. Really good at bouncing ideas off of, excited by new ideas and you bouncing those things off of them. They just want to chat. Gemini just wants to talk. You could just find someone that just wanted to talk just as much as them. They would just be so happy with that. They wouldn't need anything else. No, they would. They need a lot of variety. That's a funny joke. You know, unless they have other more fixed and stable energies in their chart, they're probably going to be the type that just, you know, liked having the conversation with you for 30 minutes. But so weird because it's like they have a conversation with you for 30 minutes and you're like, I think they've really, really liked me. And then it's like they never call you again. And it's like, what the fuck? We had a great conversation. But it's like, that's just because Geminis have great conversations with everybody. It's to be the entire package for them to really stick around. You need to be really unique, very different, really intrigue them, or else they're just gonna move on to the next person, the next conversation. Geminis, they kind of like that like mystery to people. They get bored easily, pick up things very easily, so they can figure out people very quickly, and then they kind of get bored because it's like they did all this digging, talking, analyzing, testing, and then in the end it just kind of went to waste because they found out too much too soon because they pried too soon. And they just kind of ruin their new shiny toy. This is like the people that the one song they really love and then they play it 200 times and they ruin it. And then they have to go find another favorite song. That's what Gemini does with people, jobs, hobbies, you name it. You know, come in very excited and curious head first. And then they kind of just go like, oh, that wasn't as interesting as I thought it was. Next. Geminis are the epitome of the Tinder app. I bet you a Gemini made that up. Want an opinion on some, oh, that hair is back to haunt me. You would like an opinion on something that's like trending, something you don't really know much about. You can ask a Gemini, they'll probably expand your knowledge a little bit on the topic and they'll just love to talk about it. They just want to know what your opinion is on it and if they can get any more knowledge off you that they can then pass on to other people type thing because they're messengers, right? So that's kind of what they do. They like seed and pick up information here and then they drop it here and then they pick up another seed and then they drop it there, and it's very charming and lovely energies. They're very intriguing energies. Like I said, because they're mutable and because they're like chameleons, you can take them anywhere. So really get too nervous by social interacting. They're quite good at it. They're quite good at speaking in front of people. You know, they might not necessarily fit in with directly, but they'll find a way to mold themselves into the group and fit in. That's a very Gemini thing to do. They can just fit in with anyone pretty much. Geminis, I feel like they don't really have a hard time making friends either because they're just so chatty, really good at blending in crowd, but they also know how to really stand out with their opinions. When a Gemini is really passionate about something, they will literally go on and on about it, but it's very interesting because you can see the passion and they know the things that they are passionate about. I feel like they do know quite a bit about. It might not be like down to the detail, but they're going to give you a really good general overview of that topic and you're going to feel like, oh wow, yeah, I could carry on a conversation with somebody else about this topic. They're such compartmentalized people. I feel they have like different little pockets within their body of different little energies that they kind of like pick and choose. Okay, I'm gonna express myself like this today. They're so used to just like adapting to what everybody else wants to do or what everybody else thinks and kind of just like spiraling off of that. They kind of have a hard time pinpointing their identity and what they really want in life. And I think that this is why sometimes Geminis can get cheating reputation or like a very hard to pin down and settle down with type energy, because the reality of it is that they need a lot of variety or else they get bored. They need a lot of mental stimulation or else they get bored. And it's like you might be mentally stimulating to them at one point, but then if you kind of don't have anything new to contribute to them over time, then they're just kind of gonna get bored. And because they don't like coming across as bad people and they want to be liked in everybody's eyes, that's where like that sneaky, potentially cheating behavior might come in. I'm not saying that like Geminis are cheaters, because you can't say that about any sign. Like that's stupid. You can't be like, oh, this sign's this and that. Like you can't be like, oh, they're gonna cheat on you. Like thing that you'd probably have to look at the whole chart for and do like a very in-depth analysis for. And even at that, you should not make assumptions like that just based off astrology, because it's a tool. It's not like an end game, okay? Doing things out like that, because I don't want people to like go run off and be like, oh my god, Lillian said Geminis are cheaters. It's like, no, it's just like they could be more susceptible to that type of behavior if they are embodying more negative traits of their energy, because yeah, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles, honey. If it's something they're passionate about or deeply triggered about, Geminis can literally rant about things for so long, and it's like they never get bored, ever. They'll always find something else to say. Even if it's the exact same thing that they just said 10 minutes ago, they'll find another way to say it. They're really good at breaking things down for people and helping people digest information in ways that maybe they would have never even thought of. I love having conversations with Geminis. I feel like they're always so interesting. They always have such interesting things to say, such good back and forth and just like very mentally stimulating conversations. You know, my boyfriend and I, we could talk for days, like days about whatever. There's always new topics that we're both bringing up. And well, I mean, two Mercury ruled people in a relationship, there's going to be a lot of talking, there's going to be a lot of discussing, there's going to be a lot of analyzing, and you know, sometimes we do bump heads because our energies are very similar but different, and so they can be a struggle to deal with sometimes, but all in all, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm pretty biased towards Geminis because I love one. So I also have a lot of friends that are Geminis, and I just always have very intellectual conversations with them, things that go beyond the surface. Of always have, you know, something exciting to tell you, whether it's like new information. It's like, oh my god, did you hear about this? Or like, what do you think about this? If you're someone that needs a conversationalist, somebody that will want to talk things out, then Gemini's your person. They love to talk. So I really like how they can be really creative in their own way. So like they have a really nice way of curating their own expression. And I was like, you'll never really be able to copy the way that they think or write because it's just so unique to them. And because they just think in their own like weird pattern of thinking. And so it's going to be very hard to emulate that because it's so unique, so cerebral. I think they're really fun. They really know how to have a good time because they're mutable. So they're really kind of like with the flow type energies. They're very cerebral, go with the flow energies. They don't want to do boring shit. Like Geminis, like that's the one sign you can't be boring with because they will literally just shut down. Like they'll just give you this like glazed look and it will be all over their face that they don't want to be around you. But they'll hide it with a smile. But like if you're intuitive enough, you'll be like, this person hates me. They're just like pretending they like me. That's Gemini. Another thing is like they can be very cutthroat with their words, which can be good if somebody's like being an asshole. Like you want to have a Gemini because they'll know what's gonna sting. Geminis would be really good at like that. Do you guys remember that show? It was like Yo Mama rap battles. That was so long ago. Yo Mama rap battles, and it to come up with like creative Yo Mama disses. Geminis would be really good at that. They'd know like where it really hurts. They'd definitely win that contest. They're all about words, right? So they know which ones are really gonna hit you hard. Good at defending themselves verbally, which I like, but for the most part, like they're not gonna be very aggressive unless they feel like they need to be to protect their integrity, then they will. Trying to expose them for being fake, they're not gonna be down. Like if you're going to battle, verbal battle on the tabloids, then you want a Gemini on your side. You know, gonna wrap up this video now. This is the Gemini video. If you're interested in keeping up with the series, I need you to please like, subscribe, comment if you think I missed anything. Next video coming up is gonna be Cancer. Lovely, lovely watery Cancer. It's gonna be our first water sign and we're gonna be going back to Cardinal. If you're interested in hearing about Cancer, then stick around, but until then, I'll see you guys then because I gotta go now. Okay, bye. Love you guys.